Okay, George, it's time to get started. Let's begin the breakdown process. There it is. Wow. Incredible. Okay, back of your dial is 8.5. Back of your case, 8.6. That's 1 month. There we go. Very cool. Interesting. All right, well, that is disassembly. We're going to inspect some components. I have a feeling there are a few pieces that need some attention and perhaps need a looked at twice. And I have to see there's some interesting behavior of this this component. So I just want to make sure that it's in tip-top shape and ready to go back and be functional. I look closely at your pallet fork jewels here. These have some wear. It could be dirt, but it could be worn. So I'm gonna have to take a close look at that as well. All right, we're gonna do some jeweling, do some evaluating, and we'll be back. Okay, George, we're out of the cleaner, ready to start our reassembly process. We're going to go ahead and things back together. All looks pretty good so far. I haven't seen anything that stands out as being problematic. We're going to just check everything again as we put it together, but so far so good. Okay, well that's the train side assembled. Let's go ahead and do our first pass at evaluating the performance, and we will come back in just a moment. Okay, well that is quite badly out of beat, so somebody might have tried to adjust this at one point. It's pretty far off, but we're getting a signal, which is a huge improvement. So let's see if we can get a little bit more. Amplitude is going up. It's always nice. Pretty steady. Alright, well I'm going to let the lubrication find its way, and we're going to come back and have a look. We'll be back. Okay, George, well here we are with your break-in numbers. I went back in, I wasn't 100% certain that you had a good pallet fork, and I think I was right that it's got some wear marks in it. This is one of those things that happens when service is not done and a watch is worn for a long time. You start to get wear on points that see a lot of friction, and that's certainly what you had in the faces of your pallet fork. So it's got a new one now, and the numbers are really respectable. This is exactly where I kind of want these things to always be. 230 to 250 is kind of the range of optimal service, and you know, it's doing fantastic. The signal's clean. We'll do our final adjustments on the rate to get that as close to 0 as possible, but you know, this is 5 times better than spec. Now it's about 20 times better than spec. So I think we're doing really well. Anyway, so we're going to move on to the counter side and get things finished up. Okay, George, well, that's the movement built. We're gonna take a pause. We're gonna work on getting your case rebuilt with your new crystal. Get your hands and your dial back on the movement, and then we'll be ready to finish up. So, yeah, it's running really great. I'm really happy. So let's get that finished, and we'll come back. Okay, George, today is the day we've been waiting for. We're going to go ahead and get your new old stock crystal installed in your case, and then we are going to move forward with getting everything back together. So this is your Type 1 that did quite a little round trip, but it is definitely in good shape. Needs a little cleanup, but we're going to do that before it goes in, and then we'll get everything back together. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, George, let's get the last few pieces in place, and we will button it up and be finished. Okay, well, here it is. Your amazing 1968 6105 8009 proof patinated slim Willard on an original Seiko band that you sent to me to put on the watch. There it is, Seiko Japan. Wow. You don't see them like this very often. No, you don't. And it is a real pleasure to see this one. I had a lot of fun putting these watches together and getting things right, and they came out fantastic. Both watches, in fact. This one had some interesting things. Both of your watches, and we'll really focus on this one since we've already done the other. This watch, of course, like the other, needed a pallet fork. It's just one of those things about some of these 6000 series movements. They have a few things that that pop up from time to time. One is, of course, the thing we take care of always, which is arbor fork jeweling. But the other is really the the service interval. So, servicing a watch has to happen, and when it doesn't, this is usually one of the components that suffers, and those little jewels at the end just get beaten up. So here's your crystal. That one came out. Here's your old seal. Here is something really interesting. So this has, and I'm not sure, I don't think this is Seiko original, but this has a regular rubber gasket, and you can see it is just stiff as a board. And luckily I had a replacement gasket, which is the Viton modern material, which does not degrade. Here's your seal from your crown, which is, of course, rock hard. There is your bushing that's now a jewel in your plate, main plate. And here are the old spring bars, of course. You have the original spring bars in here. People can, of course, do whatever they like with their own watches and their own stuff. I would not necessarily trust wear. This is a great heirloom piece and looks fantastic with this original, style band. but I would not wear it with this if it were me. It just is dangerous. And, you know, you got to preserve these things. George, as you know, you have exquisite taste when it comes to 6105 divers. And these watches look great, but I would be very careful with that band. It may not do what you think it should do, which is to last. I'm going to put your paper in here, so you have that. But let's look at both watches now that we're here at the end. Let's check this one out too, which is just so fun to see the differences in these two superb examples. Look at that. Let's set this one to a little Seiko time. Here. This one's set back. Everything functions on this watch exactly as it should. You're running really strong. The numbers are great. Let's see, today is, I don't know what day it is. The 20-something? Doesn't matter. But yeah, they're doing fantastic. Both of them look really good and are running extremely well. I'm really happy with the outcome here. I hope you are too. This one has, you know, Hardlex identical reproduction of this Type 3 or Type 1 crystal. This, of course, has the one that you sent in, which really lenses very nicely. Does such a good job. All right, George. Well, that is it. Those are the watches. We'll settle up and get these back to you, and you know, get them on your wrist, in your box, on display, however you like to see them. Just one more time on that beautiful patinated lume. Wow. One thing I did want to point out that I almost forgot to say, our hand had a hairline, I don't know if you can see it, has a hairline crack right down the middle of that lume. And I stabilized it from the backside with some material that we use to make lume for putting in a watch. It doesn't change the character of it at all. It's on the back of the hand, in fact, but it does keep that lume stable, and it will remain in good shape and not crack out of the hand over time. So that's a good catch. I'm glad we did this now because it could just easily have just fallen apart and turned to dust. So that's good. Okay, well, George, again, thanks so much, and thanks for watching.